Well, welcome back to the Win and In podcast. I'm your host, Max P, as always, and I'm joined today by special guest Logan from CriticalEDH. And I know you guys usually started off with some kind of like, woohoo, CriticalEDH. Got CriticalEDH or like some kind of slogan, right? So,
yeah, I don't know how that got started exactly. I think it was Eric because he was just trying to come up with like a unique intro or something, and now it's stuck. And now we're running out of intro.
You just got to go to the 90s data bank of all the different slogans from products from the 80s and 90s. That's how you do it.
Yeah, I'll probably have to start putting a list together. Oh, I have a child.
Oh, look at that dude.
He scratched his eye.
Did I do that?
But otherwise, he's all right.
So you got to do the little sock gloves. Oh, he is so cute.
Yep,
Holy
he's
crap.
got the mittens on.
Future CEDH champion right there.
All right, Mr. Calvin. Here you go.
Yeah, nice. I am now sponsored by Manifold Proxies. So if you want to go and get your proxies made in the US, go to manifoldproxies.com. You'll see a link right on the screen right now. And if you use promo code WIN, you'll get 10% off your orders. So check it out.
I'll be ordering there soon.
So yeah, man, Logan, welcome to Win and In.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
There are some people out there who weirdly don't know who you are. So just to start things off, why don't you talk about, CriticalEDH and who you are and a little bit of your background?
Sure. I started playing cEDH probably about a year and a half, maybe. Yeah, probably about a year and a half ago. And end of last year, I decided I'm going to make a run for the Top Deck Championship. And I've done content creation in other spaces before, but not Magic. And I think it was just kind of eventually I was going to do something with the Magic, and decided first of the year, my New Year's resolution was make a channel and make all of the socials and stuff for it. And I have a really good group of people that I play with here, and we all kind of wanted to do something with it, but we just didn't really know what that looked like. And I think we just kind of talked about let's start talking about our journey on the Top Deck Championship series and see how it goes and see if it takes us anywhere.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just say what's cool to me is this: you're kind of part of this new generation of cEDH players, because there's been several eras of cEDH over the years. Like before I started, I was the rookie. I was the new guy getting into cEDH. You had guys like Comedian. You had guys like, the Into the North guys, Sick Robot, those guys, Cobblepot, a bunch of guys who were sort of the core of the cEDH world then. And then they've kind of, now
they're the old guard now.
They're like the dinosaurs now. And then I'm like the grandfather. And now we have this new generation popping up, which is you guys. It's exciting. To me, it's exciting because that means we're growing. And we're not relying on the same old personalities to drive things, which is great.
Yeah, we totally recognize that we're part of the new age of cEDH, and to the same extent we respect a lot of the people that came before us and definitely defer to their opinion on a lot of things, especially, is this card good or bad and that kind of stuff. But there's tons of people with more experience than us, but right now I think you'd be hard pressed to find people that are attending as many events as we are, and people that are putting in work and trying to push new avenues and doing things like the online league and whatnot. And we're not trying to take over, but we want to unify cEDH and the players as much as we can, and have people share the space, and we want everyone to know each other. I think it's just so cool. The community is great. So
yeah, and for those who don't know CriticalEDH, there are going to be links in the description below. Please go check out their channel, check out their Discord. There's so many cool things happening over there. So they do this weekly. They call it Keeping Tabs on cEDH, where they basically just hang out and shoot the shit on everything that's happening in the community, which it's like the only podcast I actually watch, because I feel like I'm just hanging out in my living room, talking to people. And sometimes I talk back to you, and I'm like, damn, they can't hear me. Shit.
I need those recordings.
But it's a good time. I highly recommend you check it out. And the cool thing about it is you guys do a great job of reaching out to all the other content creators that are out there, like artists, big players, interviews. You do a really good job of tagging everyone else and bringing them into your circle so that your viewers can discover the other content and things that are out there, which I love. I really appreciate that you guys do that.
Yeah, I think our philosophy is that cEDH gameplay can only offer really so much to the community. And while we do that on occasion, and we play games all the time, don't get me wrong, but as far as content creation goes, we want to bring other people into the fold, and we want to collaborate with other, like you said, artists and tournament organizers and top players, and figure out what the pulse is on the format, and just keep our ear to the ground. And like you said, with keeping tabs, it's our way of looking back at like what happened over the past week, and then a little bit less so talking about what we feel is currently going on, and also like what's coming up as far as events and stuff like that. So yeah,
nice.
It's fun.
Nice. And your own personal journey, like how did you end up playing cEDH in the first place?
It's the same story as everybody else. I played a lot of casual Commander, and then all of a sudden I just like, I don't know, power creep in our play group started happening, and we lost a bunch of players because of it. And for me, I just wasn't getting less interested in playing Commander. I was getting more interested because I'm like, oh man, there's all these powerful cards I haven't played yet, and how can I win faster and more concise, or what unique combos can I pull off, and that kind of stuff. And took a good section of our play group to start playing cEDH, and then we lost maybe, like, we have a massive group here, like Denver's huge, but we had probably a good number of like 50 regular players.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of whittled that down to like 10 to 12 of people that just wanted to play cEDH.
And what was your first cEDH deck?
First,
that you're not embarrassed to say. Actually,
oh no, I'm not. Yeah, I played Hackball Land Stacks for a while.
Oh my god, I don't even know who that is. Hackball of the Surging Soul.
Yeah.
At the beginning of combat on your turn, each merfolk creature you control explores. Whenever Hackball attacks, you may put a land card from your hand onto your graveyard. If you don't, draw a card. Yeah, that's
I think it's onto the battlefield, right?
Yeah, onto the battlefield. Yep. If you don't, draw a card. That's actually not bad, weirdly enough.
It wasn't bad, and because I was playing stacks pieces like Drop of Honey and just random blue-green and artifact stacks, and it worked fine, and I won quite a few games. But obviously, as I started to learn the format more, I started branching out into other things. I think the first tournament I went to here, like local tournament, I brought Maelstrom Wanderer, but this was back when Dockside was around, and I did pretty well. I think I went like 3-0-1 and then lost in top 4, and people were sitting down with me and they're like, I don't understand how this deck wins. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, like, you'll find out.
Nice.
But I mean, that was before semi-blue was a thing. Before people were talking about that, even in the deck or in the command zone. So,
what do you think of semi-blue now? You like semi-blue? Be honest. Be honest.
I talked about this on our podcast, and that's not me just like saying, we talk about everything on our podcast. But my opinion is that semi-blue has left a lasting impression on our format as it is currently, but I think the deck is bad.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's really fun. It's a really fun way to play Magic. It's really cool. It's not that good.
Let's not conflate winning and fun.
Right. Exactly. This isn't Fun Mondays, right? Commander Fun Mondays or whatever that is. Yeah.
Oh god, yeah. Funmander Wednesdays.
Funmander Wednesdays. Yeah. It's not.
Shout out to the Scoop Phase and the New York guys have to deal with that store.
It's so funny. So funny. Yeah, I won't even tell you what that is. You guys have to go check out his podcast to find out more, right?
Yeah.
Yep. But
semi-blue is just like it does powerful things, but it's just not as guaranteed or as consistent. And I think I was talking about this on another interview that hasn't been released yet. I can't really talk about who it was with, but they were asking the same question about semi-blue. They're like, this is a non-cEDH podcast, so they're like, oh, we've heard a lot about semi-blue. How's it affecting your format? Like, it's so crazy. There's no counter spells, and this is breaking cEDH and all these things. And I'm like, it actually really hasn't affected us that much, other than it has cemented the fact that other decks are playing turbo and there's no punishment for it.
Yep. That's what's so interesting to me about it is the fact that it's emerging right now, because the meta has shifted in the last, it's got, I don't know, the last 4 months, 3 months, to being so much faster than it has been for the last year. And that, how does that coincide with semi-blue happening at the same time? Because I don't understand how semi-blue keeps up with a turbo meta. It really can't, right? It has no play.
I think what we're seeing is, yes, there's the overarching meta and especially tournament meta at the highest levels, but there's also this sub meta of like undercurrent, right, that shifts along with it or sometimes independently, and we'll see these decks become really popular. But I think the top players will recognize these as like, yeah, there's things that these decks can do that are powerful, but damn, here's blue farm anyway. Like,
yeah. Speaking of blue farm, I feel like every podcast now, that's what I end up talking about, like every single time. But at the same time, it's like it's CEDH. I mean, that's what we should be talking about. And I've sold my soul to the devil, and I am playing blue farm myself now, and have been for the last several weeks. You know, it's funny because you and I exchange a lot of little text messages back and forth about blue farm. Usually it's something like my favorite one was at one point you texted me like, "Holy shit, we've been holding ourselves back this whole time."
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I started playing the deck right when I got back from the Invitational. It wasn't because of the influence of just farm being at so many tables, and I didn't get cooked by blue farm, and I wasn't like, oh my god, this deck's just so much better than whatever I'm doing. It was, I came back and I thought to myself, what gives me the best chance of winning, period, regardless of whatever I'm doing. And regardless of my play style and my preferences and all that stuff, I need to set that to the side. And if I'm going to be a professional player, I need to play what I believe is best. And what do I think is best? I think it's farm. And I decided that I would learn farm.
You know, yeah,
go ahead.
No, I was just say what's interesting to me is that having been around for a while, you know, my first CEDH deck, first of all, was not really CEDH. It was Estrid, the Mast, and it wasn't like very powerful. But then I played Elsher for a little while, and then I played Blue Farm. It was, you know, the first deck I actually took to events at all. And the Blue Farm of those days is very, very different than Blue Farm in the current meta right now. Because Blue Farm back then was a slow, mid-range to control style of deck, where you're trying to, you know, play Tymna, play Crom, and grind. And that was really, you know, the way that you played Blue Farm back in the day.
Let's be clear. There's players that are doing that now.
They're not winning if they're doing that.
I mean, they're winning more than you would expect them to.
Yeah, but, you know, and maybe, you know, I want to say, like, I had this conversation the other day where I'm like, am I warping myself around what I'm seeing in CriticalEDH League? But really, I think CriticalEDH League is the meta right now, whether you like it or not. I think that's what you're going to see in tournaments. It's just so much faster right now. You don't have time, generally speaking, to play Tymna, play Crom, and grind. Most of the games that I'm seeing right now are over by turn 3, certainly over by turn 4. So what's happening is, you know, we're seeing blue farm builds that aren't centered around Tymna and Crom at all. Right? And I have half my games not even playing either commander.
I mean, you've seen my list.
Oh, I know. We're getting to that, which is, you know, some of that stuff is a little crazy to me, but it's working. So you know.
Well, that's the thing. We had this conversation before we went to the Open and the Invitational. As a group, we were like, okay, at the time we had 300 players in the league, and we're like, between the two events, there's probably going to be 500 players, 550 players, something like that. How many of those players are in the league? And how many of those players spend a significant amount of time in the league? It's not 0, first of all. And it's not all of them. So somewhere in between. But then we saw the results of the Open. And I'm like, yeah, these decks just want to jam.
Yep.
And the Invitational is another story because it's the Invitational. Right, everyone's playing to not lose for the most part, and everyone's playing what deck they think is best. But at the Open, we saw these proactive decks that are just jamming, and you have to have 20 points or more to make it to top 16.
Yeah,
like, it just makes sense.
Yep. So it's jammer die right now. Is really how it feels. And
do you like it?
Oh, I hate it. I like it. Sometimes I like it. I mean, I have games where I love it when it's me who's jamming. But I mean, honestly, for me, it's a huge adjustment. And I think really it comes down to, I think I played TNT for too long. And I got really locked into this, overwhelming value, make safe windows, win in safe windows kind of play style, which worked. I mean, it worked quite well for me. I mean, I won plenty of games, that way. I did well in tournaments with it. But, that style isn't working anymore. Like, it just isn't up to snuff. I go and I, play value engines on turn 1 and turn 2 and get set up to start playing on turn 3, and the game's over. And I was like banging my head on the wall over and over and over again. Like, I don't understand what's going on. It can't be like this every game, can it? It actually can. And if you're not playing a deck that can at least participate in those first 3 turns of jamming, then you're not even, why even sit down at the table? And it's difficult. Like, I'm transitioning myself, where even playing Blue Farm now, I've only been playing it for like 3 weeks now, where I've had a lot of games where a window was there, I had the ability to win, and I got locked in my TNT mindset where I'm like, well, it's not quite safe enough yet. Let me play this other value engine, and the next turn I'm good to go, and the window's gone, right? So I think
what I've learned with Farm is that if you feel the inkling of a window presenting itself, you can ask maybe a couple questions at the table, like, I feel like I need to push or do something here. Show me a counterspell and I won't, or whatever. And sometimes you get an answer, sometimes you don't. But what you start to find out is that you don't really have a reason to not push, because nothing you do is going to just blow you out. And sometimes you don't win because of it, but that's okay. You're not going to win because of it if you pass turn anyway. So right. You might as well just do what you're going to do, and then you have a decent backup plan of Tymna and Crom, or that Ristic Study that's in your hand when you could be playing a Necro instead or something like that.
Yep. And the other thing is, like, I'm good at finding windows. My instincts about windows are good. They've always been good. Like, I played frickin' Florian where I had no counter magic, and the whole game was find a window and trust that the window's real. But I've stopped doing that. Like, I've lost the ability to do that to some degree. And I'm trying to regain it and rebuild it. And it's sort of like, it's a muscle you have to build up, where you have to have the cojones to shoot your shot when it's there.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the windows in Farm specifically look very different than they do in other decks, because you can do so much with so little mana, and you must have a really, really good knowledge of what your deck can do, what's remaining in your deck, all of these things, where you can put together a pretty complex line with like 2 mana and like a tutor.
Yeah.
Depending on what your board state is, what's in your graveyard, and that kind of stuff.
I had a game earlier today where I had a turn 2 win, and my hand was Plateau, Swan Song, Enlightened Tutor, Breach, Rite of Flame, and Brain Freeze is the last cards. I have 1 mana here that can turn into 2 mana, and that's it. But that's a turn 2 win, right? Just go Enlightened Tutor, right. Get LED, play LED, Rite of Flame, Breach, crack the LED, GG's.
Exactly.
Amazing.
And I just don't know if other decks, Rogside can do this, right? But that's because it's on Breach, and it's because it's on all those other cards. But it's not on Enlightened Tutor. It's not on, I don't know. It's not on Tithe and like all these other backup things that make things just a little bit smoother, like Farm does.
I think Rogside's game in the early game, the push plan in those early windows is just as strong as Blue Farm's. I don't think that there's any deficiency there.
It's probably stronger. Let's be real.
It's probably a little bit stronger. Yeah. But its late game strategy doesn't exist. I mean, it's basically Ristic Study or bust. Right? They have it's very difficult for a turbo build of Rogsai to get back into a late game. You're basically kind of top decking and waiting for another, waiting to build up another way to go for it. Like, you tend to get blown out.
Yeah, you have no backup in the command zone.
Yeah. Whereas Tymna Crom, like you said, the pivot is Tymna and Crom. So like you take your shot, you shoot, you don't get there. If by some miracle the next guy doesn't just win, because that tends to happen, and the game goes long, you're able to climb back into it and go for it again later in ways that, Grixis decks can't.
I don't know about you, but I've been favoring Crom over Tymna. And
I have too, actually. It's funny you said that. Yeah.
It's just been feeling really good. I'm like, Tymna sucks, man.
Well, plus you could do Crom beats, you just attack the guy to the ahead of you in turn order and put pressure on him, and then he shoots it and gets stopped, and then you win after, right?
But also, like, Tymna draws me 1 to 2 cards on my turn, and I might have to, like, I might overfill my hand and discard and pass a turn or whatever. Whereas Crom, I'm like, I could potentially draw quite a bit more if, there's a lot of stuff happening, and it also turns on, for me, Flare of Duplication, and that feels pretty solid.
Well, you're also playing Rograk in your 99 or 98.
Dude, it feels so good.
That shit is crazy.
It turns on Amber. It turns on just like weird breach lines because you can like double Culling the Weak or Culling the Weak Roger a little bit, make some more mana, that kind of stuff. And just, Flare of Duplication. I once won a game where I, under a Grand Abolisher, I beseeched the mirror, bargained, and then Flare of Duped it, and just reverse Oracled off of that. And everyone's like, what?
Okay. What? Rograk?
Yeah.
What? Rograk? Yeah.
I don't know. It feels good.
Yeah. So then the next question is, why are we playing Tymna Crom at all? Why don't we play like, Wurnog and Bjorn or whatever the Friends Forever or the Baby Blue Farm deck is?
Because if I'm not casting Tymna and Crom, I don't want to cast those, certainly. Those are really bad. And then I have a hypothetical Brea list on my Mox field, and it's called +3 flex slots because I'm not running Fierce SWAT, and I get +1 card in the 99, right? So, I don't know.
Yeah. I've looked at like, okay, can I run like a 5-color commander? Can I run like Asika as the commander and leave everything else in the deck exactly the same? Not even run any green cards at all?
Yeah. I think you run like Noxious Revival, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, maybe you run like Quarter Calling so you can get because I'm not running enough green sources, so I wouldn't even do that, right?
Yeah.
No, I probably run no green cards. Cabbage Cabbage Merchant.
I like where we're at because I think the decks that are playing and performing at the top are incentivized to run only good cards. Because if you run a bad card, you probably get punished unless it really helps your strategy.
Yeah.
I think that's what our format should be. We should not be running bad cards.
Yeah, I mostly agree, although there are some decks that play a ton of bad cards that synergize really well. And I think that's the one exception, is if you're running a shitty card because in your particular deck there are other shitty cards that together make good cards. Like, I think that's like the one exception. And, I think of Rawl as the perfect example. Like, I hate every card in Rawl for the most part. They're just crap. Cards I don't want to play. I don't even want to own those cards.
Right.
But man, they work, dude. They
work. I mean, Kinnon's a little bit the same way, right? Because you get to run all these kind of strange and large creatures and stuff like that. But I find myself,
at least in Kinnon, that like those creatures are good theoretically. They're just ridiculously priced.
Yeah.
Right?
When I first started playing CEDH, I was very big on the synergy game plan, where I like playing this weird kind of synergistic package with whatever commander or archetype I was playing. And as I get more experience, I'm like, I just want to play good cards. I want every card that I draw to be independently gas. Like, I cannot stand drawing this, like, I don't know. A lot of blue farm players will play Angel's Grace. And like, this card is bad 99% of the time. And there's occasions where it's not bad. But
I've only seen it be good like once or twice in thousands of games.
Right. Yeah, but it's like not good enough. So why do I want to draw it at any point?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. That's always been my style of play. It's why, the whole TNT, Cradle Farm strategy thing never appealed to me, because bringing in bad cards just always is a turn off for me. Like, I don't want to run those shitty cards just to make that strategy viable. I want to run as few bad cards as I possibly can. I want to run every strategy that works with those good cards.
Yeah.
And
have you done much brewing since you've been playing Farm?
I mean, I've been brewing Green Goblin, like Norman Osborn. So I spent a bunch of time on that. I've been brewing TNT for post Cabbage Man, but that's about it.
Do you think that Farm has helped or hurt your brewing creativity?
I mean, man, that's a hard question. I think it's fine. I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's probably good for me because it pushes me to look for faster strategies, and I've been stuck in that mid-range mindset for too long.
Yeah.
So like even TNT, I'm looking at faster ways to win now.
Yeah, I mean, I know that Austin from our crew is playing that TNT list. It's basically Farm. I mean, it's on Necro and Nas, and it's trying to convert both of those, and you can push early and fast, and then have a decent backup plan. But for me, since I've been playing Farm, it's definitely helped me identify these more proactive and faster strategies, and I think that's great. But it's stifling my creativity because I look at these other things that I think are cool or were once good, especially in the mid-range meta.
Yeah,
and now I'm like, this is just trash. Like, it's not good enough.
Well, the other thing I see that people tend to do is they tend to take the Blue Farm strategy and then staple it onto another deck and say, hey, I'm innovating. And like, nobody does what Blue Farm does better than Blue Farm. Period. Mm-hmm. Like, stuffing it into a green shell isn't going to make it work better. It just isn't. Like, you're not going to beat that color combination of those commanders to do what Blue Farm does.
Like Kefka. Like, it doesn't.
No, Kefka, but right, because Kefka's inherently worse. It has one less color. It can't do silences. It can't do, Enlightened Tutor. It can't do any of the things that Blue Farm can do. Yeah, it's still, but you're still doing the same. Okay, I'm going to Necro. I'm going to Born. I'm going to Nas. And I'm going to, Thassa's Oracle to win the game. It can do all those things, but it can't do them as well as Blue Farm can. But what you can do, I think, is you can take away from it this idea that, find what your deck can do really well in whatever color combination it is, and lean into that harder the way that Blue Farm leans into what it can do harder. TNT, for example, I've been thinking a lot about this, and what is it that TNT offers over other decks in the format? What do those colors allow you to do? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. Thassa's Oracle, every creature turns into Thassa's Oracle. The fact that you can Neoform, that you can tutor out onto the battlefield Thassa's Oracle.
Eldritch. Yeah.
That's what those color combinations can do. So lean into that instead of, jamming a Necro into the deck, because it just doesn't work as well.
I think the hidden benefit of TNT is that it plays into stacks much better than Farm does.
It grinds better, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
If the game goes long. Yeah.
Is that good enough right now? Like, I don't think so.
Nope. Absolutely not. Which is why I'm not playing it anymore right now.
Yeah.
I think
that's pretty serious. If a deck were to take the max P off of TNT, that tells you where things are at.
Yeah. I mean, you asked me earlier, do I like it? And I said I hate it. I hate it because I want the meta to shift again. Like, I want it to slow down just enough so that I can play TNT again, because I really enjoy playing TNT. But like, if I'm being honest with myself, and if I want to actually win and compete, like, it's just not fast enough right now with the way things are right now.
Right.
But I don't think that's forever. Like, I don't think that this is that the current state of things is going to remain like this for the next year. I just can't see it happening. I think we're going to see strategies start to emerge that punish those just go strategies. And I think the result of that will be winning after becomes the way to go again, which is how it's usually been throughout CEDH.
I'm not
you don't
feeling
think so?
A punishment coming around the corner for what we're doing, man. I just don't feel it. I felt it. I felt like meta shifts before, and I've kind of been like, okay, like, things are, especially, let's say, mid-range to turbo where we are now. I think we were all kind of feeling it, and like, we kind of felt that mid-range wasn't here to stay forever. I don't think that turbo's here to stay forever, but I'm not at the point where I'm like, okay, there's rumors, or there's like, I can smell something in the air and I know that things are going to shift. I don't think we're there yet.
Oh, I don't see where the shift is going to come from yet.
Yeah.
Like I don't see it where, like, I don't see like an undercurrent that's going to shift that way. Like you could say, oh, stacks is going to come. I don't think so. I don't see stacks emerging again in the current meta. I just don't see it. There's no way. There's no way. Stacks is just too bad. Unless there's some miracle card that gets printed that is a stacks piece that wins the game somehow or something. I just don't see stacks being the catalyst for that change.
Every game I've played against stacks in the past, say probably 4 or 5 tournaments, which there's stacks players locally here, whether it's Magda or Elevere or Tyam, I've either drawn the game. I think I've lost a Tyam once, but that's just because I was like 4 seed. I went down to like 3. I've either drawn the game or I've overloaded a rift and won the game. And everyone just kind of stares at you and you're like, okay, here's me counting to 7 overload rifts.
Yeah, waiting for rift. Yep. Yeah, that's what I used to call stacks all the time, waiting for rift. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the game pauses. Everyone does nothing for a while. Then finally someone rifts and the game ends immediately. And it's like putting your video on fast forward. Like all the actions, game actions that have been arrested for the last 7 turns or whatever, all happen in half a turn.
Right.
All at once.
Yeah, you can collapse it all down into about 30 seconds.
Yeah. But I still think that what eventually happens is people play a little more responsible. You'll see someone does really well with the mid-range deck again, and people look at that, admire it, and start to emulate it, and then that's how the shift eventually ends up happening again. I think that's what's happened even here, is that people started taking some turbo approaches to things, and turbo is one of those strategies that the more of it there is, the better it performs, right? Which is, it snowballs in that direction. So I think eventually responsible play will do eventually the same thing. I don't know when. I have no idea. Hopefully soon.
Yeah, I can't picture what that looks like, because I feel like I've, in the past, even with my short cEDH experience, I've been able to like kind of picture in my head, like, okay, on turn 2, it might look like somebody plays this piece, and then that kind of changes the game dynamic a little bit. And maybe I'm inexperienced with turbo. I just don't really know what that shift looks like from here.
Yeah, I guess we're going to find out. Last time it was like this was the Invitational in 2024.
Okay.
Where it was basically Rogsai or death. Like everyone was playing Rogsai, or they were playing Blue Farm that was really Rogsai with white.
Right.
And it was turn order simulator meta. Like whoever went first basically won the game every single time. And it was over by turn 2 every time. And what shifted everything was the bans.
Yeah.
So
for better or worse, I don't know. I still hate the bans, but
me too. Yeah. I mean, I think we get lost in this debate. Like this is the same conversation everyone's having in every room in every Discord server talking about CDHs. They shouldn't have banned Dockside, but it was okay that they banned this, or blah blah blah. Back and forth, but it's neither here nor there. It's happened at this point.
Well, I am concerned because I think that. Remember I was talking about how like there's this larger meta shift that happens, like right now we're shifting into turbo, but there was that kind of undercurrent shift of, well, there's semi-blue and that kind of stuff happening. I think those two things are happening at the same time, but they're happening at different levels of play. The undercurrent talk right now that I'm hearing is Rhystic Study and Tymna need to be banned. And to me, I'm like, you guys are so behind the curve, behind the 8 ball on this. Like, these are not problems.
Not anymore. It seems to have gone away, right?
Right.
There was a moment in time where Rhystic Study was a problem because everyone was playing value engines, everyone was playing the mid-range game, and Rhystic Study bogged everything down and was a problem. I think if you look at the last 3 months, that has shifted away. I also think, the idea of banning Tymna is just completely wackadoo to me. Like I don't understand that thought process at all. I mean, Tymna creates so many interesting varieties of decks. Like you could partner Tymna with you got Tymna Kadama, you got TNT, TNK, you got T and Dargo, you got Tymna Jeska. Like all of these decks are inherently possible because you can put Tymna in the command zone and have a draw engine. If you take that away, the diversity just collapses. Right? Yeah,
it's a combination of draw engine plus decent colors. And
yep,
my concern with like this conversation that's happening about Tymna and Ristic particularly is not just that. I totally agree with you. First of all, that it's a bad idea that would just change so many things, but I'm concerned that I'm still hearing this sentiment because we know that wizards and just like corporations are very slow to move, right? Mm-hmm. So if they ban Tymna like next year, everyone's gonna be like, what the hell? Like, this is not a problem. Like, we're already seeing that it's not a problem, right? That's not the things that we're worried about. We're worried about like seed order, and like Necro is a way stronger card than Ristic right now. Like, but no one's complaining about Necro. It's just, I don't know. I just, it gives me a bad feeling because I don't like hearing these conversations. Like, you guys are just not on the ball. Like, you're not paying attention to what's happening at the higher levels of play. Because if I play a turn 2 Ristic or a turn 1 Ristic even, there's zero guarantee that does anything for me meaningful.
Oh, you know that game I talked about earlier where I did the turn 2, Underworld Breach with LED from the Enlightened Tutor. So the guy, I was in third seat. The guy in second seat tapped out in turn 2 to pay his Ristic study. How did that work out for him?
Right. He just got blown out.
I'm like, yeah, you could draw. Yeah, you could draw. Yeah, you could draw. Got anything? Okay.
Yeah.
GG's. Yeah, it's just not. It's not good enough in this meta right now.
Yeah. I can count on probably one hand how many times I've gotten like Tymna attacks off. And has it even won me the game? Or if I'm playing Tymna, I'm probably losing. Like, actively losing the game.
Yeah, or you took your shot and you're trying to climb back in, right?
Right, yeah. I got blown out, so I'm playing Tymna. Like, where are the heuristics on that?
Yeah, I mean, I hate banning cards in general. Like, I am always kind of ban adverse in general. Like, I just think most of the time they cause more problems than they solve. Having said that, I was very pro ban Ristic, just a few months ago.
Sure.
But things have shifted. I don't think you can ban Ristic Study right now, because if you ban Ristic Study right now, first of all, like, any deck that doesn't have access to draw engines in the command zone are not playable, right?
Yeah.
Beyond turn, beyond like turn 3. Like, if the game goes past turn 3, you have no play. Like, the risk, Tymna Crom just runs away with the game because they could draw cards and you can't. Right.
Don't get me wrong. There's still games where you run into the multiple Ristic, multiple tithe type things, and that's definitely happened to me while I'm playing this deck. But they're much fewer and farther between.
Yeah, which is just a shift in the meta. That's all it was. That's the only thing that changed.
What caused it though?
I think you're gonna think I'm crazy. I think two commanders caused it. Okay. 2 specific commanders, and not Tymna Crom. Lumra.
Okay, interesting.
And who's the other one?
Atali?
Yep. I think those 2 commanders shifted the meta by themselves because they don't give a fuck about you drawing cards.
They care
at all. Zero fucks given.
I actually think it might be closer to Atali and like Tymna Dargo. Because
Tymna Dargo's, yeah,
they just cast spells over and over again. They're going to loop Dargo, and they don't care about Ristic. Like, they care, right? Because they can potentially stop them, but that doesn't stop them from attempting to win. They will just attempt to win anyway.
Yeah, but I think the difference though is at least Tymna Dargo runs silences and like Red Blast and a little bit of interaction. Atali and Lumra, none. Zero. They're not there to interact at all. They're playing Solitaire.
They're playing Nature's Claim and like Force of Vigor, I think.
Only to get clear stuff out of the way for them to win.
Yeah.
Right? Like, can you imagine a Lumra player going, let me think about my turn carefully because you have a Ristic Study and I don't want to draw you too many cards.
No. It's There's no consideration for that.
None, zero,
and nor should they be. This is not. I don't think it's either one of us saying, well, Lumra players need to play more considerate. No. You shouldn't. Like, you just, why would you care? Like,
no, absolutely not. You should not. You should play exactly how you're playing it. That's what the deck does. And doing anything less than that, you're just screwing yourself. Like, you're 100% push. But again, I think it really changes the meta, because when you sit down in a pod and you're looking at Lumra across the table from you, you can't count on them to help you with anything. Right, it's either they're going to push and win, or you're going to stop them. And then if you stop them, like, all systems go for whoever else is going to push, and it just changes the dynamic of the whole pod. And I think, if you remember the CriticalEDH League back in August, I think it was August and July, I think Lumra was a force. There were so many Lumra decks. I felt like every pod had Lumra in it.
That and Atali.
And Atali, exactly. So I think that just, people are like, well, if I'm going to be playing in a pod with Lumra, I can't afford to play value engines and sit on them. I have to win before them.
Okay, so I do want to provide some context. We've mentioned the league a few times, but for those of you listening, we have nearly 500 players, which sounds like a lot, right? Because like, we went to the Open and the Invitational. At the Open, there are 514 players, or however many, right? 524 or something like that. In the league, we have very close to that many players right now. The difference is we're playing 110 games per day.
Yeah. I mean,
we're averaging 110 games per day.
I mean, I'm going to look right now. Okay. It is 4:00 in the afternoon, East Coast time, in the middle of a Friday during the workday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 pods, right? And it looks like there's other ones that are forming up right now.
Yeah, they're queuing.
That are forming up right now.
Yeah.
In the middle of a workday. I mean, and it's like this 24 hours a day. It's
But that sample size, and like, we had 2,500 games last month. It's just insane. But when you have players pushing the limits and playing that many games of Atali and Lumra, that starts to push things in a direction, because other players are starting to react to that. We've seen Higher. He's been performing extremely well on a very limited set of interaction in Kinnan, right? And so he's at the top of the league 2 months in a row. I think last month he was playing 0 interaction. Now he's playing 3 or 4 pieces or something like that.
He's playing a bit more. He and I have been talking a lot about that. Like, I'm like, dude,
okay,
have enough interaction to protect your own wins. Okay, like,
yeah.
And
he's converting better because of it, but it doesn't matter. He's still at the top of 500 players, and people notice.
Yep, it has a profound effect on everything. It's interesting. When you and I talked, I think it was July or August. I don't remember. We talked, and I was trying to emphasize how big a deal the league is to CEDH, and I don't know that people grasp it, because a lot of people are new.
I have no idea.
Well, it's like we started the show talking about the fact that you're new, like a year and a half. It's nothing. You have to understand that in the history of CEDH, especially online, the way things used to work is you'd go join a Discord server, and it was, at the time, it was Nexus. You had the Nexus Discord server, or you had the Reddit server. And the Reddit server, you jump on, you have no idea what you're going to run into. You're going to run into pre-cons. You're going to run into some guy who's drunk. It's complete zoo. You have no idea what you're running into. Or you had the Nexus server. And the Nexus server was set up so that you had to submit a deck that was on the cEDH decklist database. And they called you an apprentice. And you were not allowed to play any other deck until you got a certain number of games in, and then you were allowed to play other types of decks, right? And that's how they sort of curated who could play on the Nexus server. So I basically refused to play there, because I'm on Florian. Florian's on the database. They won't put Florian on the database, so now I can't play here. So screw you guys. I'm not going to play on Nexus, right?
Yeah.
And then finally they amended the rules, and like, the experience was, you go to Nexus, you queue up, you wait a couple hours. Maybe you get a pod, maybe you don't. And that was the way things worked. And the only way to consistently get a game was to go to Reddit and suffer.
Yeah.
And then things progressed. We had a few other Discord servers that emerged that had, queues and games, and they had leagues. Like, most of them were like these private elite servers that you had to be invited to. And same experience. You sit there and you queue and you wait. And, I had a group. There was like 4 of us. One guy from Slovenia, one guy from Baltimore, myself, Fuzz from the UK. And the 4 of us would play every day. And that was my Discord experience of playing CDH. So to transition from that to now, I can go to the Critical League for, was it $5 a month, $6 a month, and
5,
like 24 hours a day, I can queue up and get a pod, and I have no idea what I'm running into. And it's not like the Reddit, so
like not in a bad way.
No, in a good way, right? So you're not running into like some drunk guy playing a precon. You're running into CDH players, and some of them are the best in the world you're running into, right? And that the access to the volume of play is something that we just haven't had, period, ever in CDH.
To be frank, this whole thing started because I was having a kid, and I was like, not that I'm worried about playing Magic, like that's not my top priority, believe it or not. As many podcasts as I go on and things that I do, sure, yeah. Oh, not even talk about what happened to the Invitational, but I was just like, it'd be cool to like hang out with my friends, and I'm gonna be on paternity leave for a while. It'd be really nice to have some place where people like me were stuck at home, and like he's sleeping for 2 hours. Like I can go jam a game or something, right? But I can't like leave. I can't like leave, and go do other stuff. I can't go to Friday Night Magic and play for 6 hours. So I was thinking like it'd be cool to like put a league together. And we had 80 people our first month. I'm like, wow, that's great. And then it doubled to like 180, and I'm like, oh wow, that's insane. Like I couldn't even imagine. The next month it was 270. I'm like, okay, this is getting like, where does this stop? And then last month we were at 473.
Yeah.
And right now we're in the middle of the month and we're at 478. And I'm just like, it's getting out of hand. Like I have to hire judges and, make them happy. And I've got to hire staff, and we've got to offer prizes that people care about. And I think that just like the only reason it's not a free league is because we've heard horror stories of people that just being like, screwing off, and well, I didn't pay, it doesn't matter, I can just go throw a game or just jam, and or I'll be drunk like you said and just play games or whatever. And it just keeps out that kind of stuff. And then it gives us something to put towards the prize pool.
Yeah, it's a phenomenon, and I don't understand how it happened. It just poof happened. Like it was bizarre because like there were plenty of other leagues that were out there, and people were like playing on different Discord servers, and it was getting kind of dead. And then all of a sudden, it just boom out of nowhere, it like came into existence. And I don't know if you guys realize how you've got the dragon by the tail right now.
We're trying to keep it that way, and we're actively listening to player feedback and trying to make things smoother every month. We're working with Top Deck on new features, and last month we broke it because there were too many games to fit in the database, and Top Deck were like, hey, give us like 5 minutes, we'll fix this. But like we were not expecting to run into this problem. And yeah, I mean, it's just you're right, I don't have a concept for it because I'm new. I really haven't played on much like online, and never really thought that I would play much online, but here we are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking advantage of it like crazy. I don't even know what my game count is, but it's really up there this month.
I'll check.
Oh God,
you keep talking.
I'm afraid to even see it. It's huge. I'm not doing particularly good this month, but that's okay. I'm just testing stuff, so that's fine. But like for me, it's perfect because I'll be, I work from home, so I'll have like a meeting on the calendar, and a customer cancels. I'm like, I have 2 hours. I know what I'm doing. Queue up, jam a game, and I can do that.
You have 81 games this month, Max.
Yeah.
You're not even at the top.
What's the highest count right now?
Someone has 89.
I'm catching them. I've got to catch them.
And to be clear, like the whole first page is people in the 70s and 60s and 50s, and that's 25 people.
Yeah, because it's so easy. it's so easy. I don't have to think about it. I'm like, oh, I can't sleep. I get up, I go get a drink of water. I'm like, let me look at the queue. Oh, there's 3 people in this queue. Fine, click.
I guess. Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's so cool because we've heard a lot of feedback about like, hey, I met some really good friends here. Like people I wouldn't have known otherwise. And then I go to a tournament like the Cookout and I've met them in person. And like we're out having dinner or we're playing a league game in person. And like that's so cool. I love just being the facilitator of stuff like that.
I heard about like even at the Open, right? There were league games in person at the Open. Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. So it's a great thing. It's a wonderful thing for everybody. I'll put this out there. Like if people out there watching this, if you are not in the CriticalEDH League at this point, is it a money thing? Like I'll sponsor 3 people. I'll just put that out there. Like I'll buy entry for 3 people right now.
We'll do the same. I'll match you on that. So yeah, if you comment on Max's video here and you're not in the league, hit me up on Discord and we'll make sure you get access.
Yeah, first 6 people to comment, you're getting league access. Like, come play, seriously. So, and
do you have a minute to talk about a deck list?
Yeah, sure.
Do you have a minute to talk about our farm and what our differences are?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hold on. We got to pull this up. Send me your latest real quick.
Okay, it hasn't changed much since you last saw it. There's actually a few more differences than I thought.
Well, I've made a few changes lately. The biggest one, you talk first. Like, what are your highlights here of differences? And I think it's all on the right hand side here are the big changes, right?
So I'm liking red as being a way to sort of push through wins early and fast, and I feel like it's providing me a level of consistency that other cards weren't before.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why you see like Rograk and Jessica's Will and Flare of Duplication. It's interesting that you're on like DRC because I don't see it in our differences, but you're not on Flare. But Orim's Chant just felt like really good just for like that one-off kind of like Silence and Natali or something like that. And a lot of times when I feel like I'm pushing for wins on turns 2 and 3, I really am only concerned about one player. And so it feels good enough to just rip an Orim's Chant at them.
Mm-hmm.
Spire of Industry hasn't really felt that consistent for me. And same with Starting Town. I've been like hosed by Starting Town a number of times, like if I've gotten past a turn 4 or whatever. And so I think Tarnished is where I'm at right now. I might be on Forbidden Orchard soon instead of Tarnished Citadel.
I hate that card.
But I'm not playing Tymna. Like it doesn't really matter to me, right?
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So I just put Starting Town in today, like literally a couple hours ago, and took out. But I had Watery Grave in there before, and I was just finding that like color was sometimes a challenge. And I wanted Starting Town to have more consistent access to all the colors. So kind of the same reason Tarnished Citadel is, I think, in your pile. Mistry was an all-star in TNT, but I feel like it's just too costly for what I'm trying to do until the late game. And then I feel like I've already got that base covered with Cavern of Souls. So that's why I'm not on that right now. I've loved Mayhem Devil and Bowmaster. Like, I know you're not a big fan of those, but when I'm running into like Kinnan pods or Rog Thras pods, they just absolutely dominate the game.
Don't get me wrong. I love those cards, right? Because at the Invitational, I was playing wrong side, and I specifically teched Mayhem Devil for the Invitational, and it overperformed for me, and I felt really good. And like I even ran into Zach Adler, and we both played a Mayhem Devil, and I was like, oh, like you're on this too, like you teched it for this event too. And he's like, yeah, we didn't even talk about this beforehand, and we both made the same meta call. But right now in my list, I'm trying to push a consistent win on turn 3, and Mayhem Devil and Bowmaster have really nothing to do with that.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Although, like, I look at Jessica's Will, and the same reason it's a problem is because I'm not playing Tymna or Grom enough. So Jessica's Will has been a problem in that I just can't cast it.
I found that casting it without Tymna Crom has been enough for what I've been doing with this deck.
So just use it as like a red ritual. Or
just explode and just like, hey, here's eight red mana. If you want to counter it, like, sure, that's your interaction point. You can.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And then there's upside if you have one of your commanders out, and then that can actually help. The way I see that card in particular is that if I do end up on the fallback plan of casting Tymna or Crom, and I have a Jessica's Will, it helps dig me out of that hole much faster.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I've just been using Jessica's Will to cast Crom.
That's funny. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I do find that the biggest issue I tend to have is I'm like 1 or 2 mana short a lot of the times from doing what I really want to do. Yeah. So, anything that gets me a bunch of mana is always a good thing. Yeah.
Cycrift has just been into the Flood Maul with upside because I can just wait, and whether it's 1 mana or 2 mana, it hasn't really made that much of a difference.
Yeah, I'm a big Cycrift fan. It's just that for me right now, I'm trying to win before I need to rift anything.
Yeah, me too.
And I feel like
you have to have that like one, put your foot on the brake, like, stop everything.
And I have been feeling the lack of large removal, and what I've been thinking about playing is Fire Covenant.
Yeah, the card's really powerful,
and I think people haven't played that in a while, and I think it'll catch people by surprise.
I love that it's an instant.
Yeah. And just being able to, like, especially in, like, you get into these weird games where someone plays a stupid stacks piece and it's stopping everyone but you, and you go and you wipe everyone's board but leave that stacks piece and watch them just wither and die. It's great. This is great.
I just reminded myself, Jessica's Will does pair fairly well with Flare Duplication as well, because in a breach scenario, which is mostly what we're trying to do, that surplus red mana, you can just start putting it somewhere else, and that helps a lot.
I do really like Flare of Duplication. I don't want to run Rog, but maybe
he's so good.
I mean, I need to just try Flare anyway, just because. I mean, I think I have enough red creatures that I can probably make it work most of the time.
We've got Ragavan, DRC, Crom, and
Mayhem Devil.
In my case, Rograk, yeah. But it feels bad because you like really don't want to sack Devil.
No, Devil.
I guess we have Facebreaker too.
Yeah, Facebreaker. Although I'm kind of cooling on Facebreaker right now. It just feels a little too slow,
But it just, the upside of converting all those Tithe treasures into something with Facebreaker.
Into cards, right? But what I'm not even playing Tithe very often these days. But, I feel like I just need like 2 or 3 treasures, and that's enough for me to do what I need to do. But I need those 2 or 3 treasures in like turn 1 and 2. Turn 3's too late.
Have you been favoring like Tataru and stuff like that?
I really like Tataru. I mean, that card's been great. Even when it doesn't draw, even when like people aren't playing draw engines, just that one stupid treasure and draw 1 card is enough to be worth playing.
And it turns on Mox Amber.
It does. It turns on Mox Amber, and then it turns on Mox Opal half the time too.
Right. Yeah, you have Opal, and then potentially you can tap that Opal for like a Sentinel or a fish or something like that, and that's an insane turn 1.
Yeah, you do the thing where you go Gemstone, right? And you play Tataru turn 1, and you play Mox Amber, Mox Opal. Oh my god, amazing! Yeah, those are amazing turns. Yeah,
yeah.
My only complaint about Tataru is I can't swing and draw any cards with it.
My biggest thing is just I love Ranger Captain. I think it's a really, really good card, and a lot of people think I'm rage baiting on the internet when I say like I'm not running it, but I'm truly not running the card, and I think it's fine because I've played non-white decks for so long, just not having the access to it, right?
See, I think you're crazy just because I have these games where I need to survive a whole turn cycle and then I can win. So I play Ranger Captain, I get a Mockingbird, I make a second Ranger Captain, and then I'm getting back to my turn. Right. And that's that, 1 card, 2 Ranger Captains is pretty good. So I love Ranger Captain. I think you're crazy for cutting it, but like it's working for you, so I can't. What can I say?
I just, again, it doesn't help me convert on that like turn 3 where I want to be.
Yeah,
and I know that certain cards here, like Cycrift, obviously doesn't help me convert on a turn 3 win, right? But it can remove a stacks piece. Ranger Captain can't do that.
Yeah, I mean that's true. That's true.
I feel like I'm putting myself under self stacks every time I play a Ranger Captain.
It does. You do get those games where people clone it, and then you're like, "Oh my god, just shoot me now."
Yeah, but even so, that everyone just saves all their resources, right? Because they're like, okay, well, I can't do anything too crazy. I can't rip a breach. I can't do anything that's like, too insane with Ranger on the field. And then it comes back to your turn, and the pressure's on you to either crack it or not. And yeah, if you crack it, sure, you can win the game. But sometimes if everyone's saving the resources, you crack Ranger Captain, then they just go on top anyway.
Yeah, but it enables my favorite thing to do, which is be a helpful player. Crack the Ranger Captain. Guys, I'm here to help. I got you. Like, this will stop everything. Okay, good. Resolved. Born Upon a Wind.
Everyone knows I'm not there to be helpful. And I'll help with the limited tool set that I can, but a lot of times I'm like, pass priority. It sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I guess Orm's Chant does the same thing to some extent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried Orm's Chant. It just didn't work well enough for me. It was like too often like a really weird, awkward card in my hand that didn't protect me well enough. But I understand that because I played Orm's Chant when I was on Tim Najeska, and it was great. But the difference was in Tim Najeska, I did things like I had Boromir, I had Hope of Girapur, I had Vexing Bauble. So you had all these different cards that kind of worked together to make points of interaction very difficult. Like it was enough. Like, okay, there's only one player who can actually interact because they have mana open, and everyone else is tapped out, and I have a Vexing Bauble in play. So now I Orm's Chant you, and I'm good. But by itself, I don't like it as much.
Well, Trap is, I don't know. Trap is like, I just wish it did something else to protect your turn.
It's the card you want when you're in fourth seat. That's really what it does for me.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I think riding the line between like a control and a proactive list is a noble thing you can try to do. But having just played so many games of Wrong Side where I'm on like 35 instance, and I'm on Trap and Commandeer and Misdirection and every blue counterspell that's free and worthwhile, and same with like the red ones, Pyroblast and Red Blast. And
Pyroblast I may cut. Like, I don't think I need both blasts. That's on my potential cut list is Pyroblast.
Hey, cut it for Rograk, dude.
Now you're crazy. No, don't do that. But maybe I cut it for like Flare.
What I would recommend is start evaluating if you have a Diabolic Intent in hand and you're like, dang, I really wish I had a creature to sack for this. That's when Rograk feels really good.
That's fair. That's fair.
Or if your graveyard's huge and the only tutor you have is Diabolic Intent, you have a Rograk in your graveyard.
But there's got to be something better than Rograk. Like, I want a creature that costs like 1 or less that does something.
It doesn't do anything, but that's kind of why it's good. It's free. Think about it this way: if you rip a Naz and your only tutors are Intent and Rograk, in like, what's the downside? Like, it doesn't cost you life off of Naz.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to kind of look around. Like, I'm willing to entertain the idea that we could use another cheap creature, specifically a red creature. I just don't know that Rog's the answer.
I was really close to running Serra Ascendant.
I've run Serra Ascendant in Farm before. I ran Serra Ascendant in Tim Najeska, and it's great. It's just too slow right now. Like, okay,
yeah, I agree, but it's like a 1 mana thing. I was,
but I can't sack it to. Like, I can't sack it to Flare. It doesn't turn on Mox Amber. Like, it's not good enough. Like, I need a cheap creature that does those things and actually adds value. And I haven't like done enough Scryfall searches yet to know what it is, but there's got to be something.
The thing that pushes Rog over the edge is, yeah, there's 4 spells. There's Flare of Duplication, Mox Amber, Calling the Weak, and Diabolic Intent. But if you think about Rog from a breach angle, because you're not putting him in the command zone, he always costs 0 if he goes to yard. So you can actually start to make surplus mana almost immediately. You can cast him, with are just for 0, right? Like you stack them to Coaling the Week.
Yeah, I mean, true. But like at that point, run Stitcher Supplier.
That was a consideration as well. Yeah. And that's like a different line for sure.
Yeah, and then it's like having Grinding Station. You have those 2 cards, you just win.
I'm very close to running Grinding Station. I might be off of like Mistrides for Grinding Station here shortly.
Yeah. Brain Freeze.
Just anything so well. That's like 2 mana, 1 mana that just like helps me turn the corner that much faster or that much easier is really what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Well,
cool, man.
For people watching this, I want to hear your thoughts. Is he crazy for cutting Ranger Captain? Is he crazy for including Rograk in the 98? To me, it seems wild, but
I'm crazy. But hey, you can check the primer of the deck list. There's a win record in there. You can, argue with me all you want.
Better than my win record on it so far. So, I guess proof is in the pudding. But yeah. Tell us what you think.
Farm is a really flexible deck. You can play it a lot of different ways, and I don't think that there's. And if you listen back to the conversation you and I just had about the R2 decks, there was no point where I said you were running the wrong cards.
Right.
Right. Like I don't think that's true.
Right.
So I'm liking what I'm playing, and I will jokingly try to convince other people to run it. But do I think it's the truth? Not really. Thank you so much for having me on, dude. I had such a blast.
Dude, this is fun. We gotta do this again. Like this can't be the only time.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're welcome anytime on ours.
Hell yeah. The one episode that we did, I had a blast. That was such a good time. It was exactly what I was hoping for. Like I felt like we were just sitting around their living room just talking. It was great.
Well, we'll have to we've got some newer gear and setup, so we'll make it a little bit easier so we don't talk over each other as much anymore because we had a little bit of audio delay and stuff. But this is good. So
yeah. Well, Logan, thanks so much for coming on. Hopefully everybody enjoyed this. Like, hopefully got something out of it. Yes, I sold out. Yes, I'm playing Blue Farm, and so is Logan. But you know what? I want to win games. I want to have a good time, and I am. So it's working. So if you like this, if you enjoyed this, please subscribe. Please join our Discord, my Discord. Join his Discord, the CriticalEDH Discord. You'll see links to all of this in the description below. Come play in our league, and like we said, the first 6 people to comment and say, "Hey, I want to buy in. I want to play in the league." We got you. So
absolutely, yeah. Go like and subscribe to the Winning In podcast.